Yes,
It's being recorded right now.
Yes.
We're recording right now. So there you go. Now we got your face permanently connected to this particular session.
Exactly.
And yeah. So you see some folks down here. Some of these folks you recognize. Some folks you met over in Trinidad. There's some folks
Jackie.
you haven't met.
Hey, Jackie. What's up, Jackie?
Jackie John is over
Sharon is also. Hey, Sharon.
Absolutely.
Hey, awesome, guys. Hey, I don't want to steal any more of your time.
Wait a minute. Look at this lady over here. This is my friend. She's in the dark over here. But this is Janie over there in Nigeria.
Janie is 8 Nigeria.
Yeah, it's 3 a.m. over there in Nigeria.
Wow.
Yeah, she's waving at you.
Hey,
I know we have
committed.
more.
She's committed.
No, we have more. She's a new Sapphire, and then I know Amarachi's. Whenever Janie's present, Amarachi ain't too far behind. There he is. He's over here.
Okay. He doesn't want to put his webcam on.
It's okay. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, okay? 3 o'clock in the morning? Shoot, I wouldn't put my face on
Yeah. Edwin. We got Edwin. Awesome, bro.
Brand new Sapphire, Mr. David Neal.
Hey, Patrice James. What's up?
Look, Patrice is right next to David Neal. See if you see.
Hey, David, what's up, bro?
Brand new Sapphire.
Awesome, guys.
Hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you take a second and just tell everyone about that big event that's about to happen in January?
Yeah.
And the fact that what we were talking about over dinner as we were, what we had? You want to tell them what we had? You want to tell them what we had?
Yeah. We had, guys. I don't know if you guys know about this. we had oxtail. Do you guys know what oxtail is?
People might know oxtail.
Hey, look.
He's like,
I like that. I like that oxtail. and we had this drink. It's called Sorry.
No. Sorrel.
Sorry.
He's sorry. He keeps messing it up.
Guys, but we were talking and strategizing really how we're gonna kick off this wonderful year of 2017, and I believe we're going to get together. Listen to this. In Trinidad and Tobago, okay, for the 28th of January. Hey, guys, and this
come on over here. Come on, Andy.
This is the diamond.
Come on, swing around the other side.
Go to the other side.
Okay, let's make sure they can see us here.
Yes.
What do we look like?
What's
we look crazy.
Hey,
look at us. We look crazy.
This is the future diamond of Trinidad and Tobago. Okay, Mr. Anderson Chess. Andy, are you gonna get the diamond on this one?
It's done, bro.
The diamond is done. Huh?
You see where I am? You see the company I keep? That's done.
The diamond is on. Hey, why do we keep seeing his face?
Because he's serious, man. He's a serious guy.
He's serious about this business. Hey, but we're gonna launch a flyer very, very soon. Promoting this big, huge event that's really gonna set the face of your 2017. 2017, I believe, is gonna be your year of miracles. It's gonna be the best year of your life if you position your belief and raise the bar on whatever it is that your activity level is right now. 2017 will be incredible for you. But let's focus on how we will terminate 2016 first.
Oh, right. Well, in order to make it worthwhile for these folks, because what we want to do is make sure that many of the people that are assembled here, okay, we're already maxed out. We've reached the max capacity on this
50.
line. Yeah, and I didn't have a chance. It would have kept on going, but you know, being busy down here, it was just too much. You see, Gordon's here too. Gordon's in the group. He's here.
Hey, Gordon. Gordon.
Gordon's in the group. But the fact of it is we're going to finish up and a lot of more sapphires, what we just finished training about, how more sapphires are going to bring about more rubies, and more rubies are going to bring about more emeralds.
Yeah.
But really what's the key is after we've gotten that done, and we're going to acknowledge a lot of new pins, we want to have everyone, and I want you seriously to recognize, I would like everyone to converge for this particular start of the year event. We've got Igor and Andrea coming in from the Netherlands. Marvin is going to be there. I'm going to be there. And we're going to do this event, but it's going to be for many of us a regional event. So if you happen to live in the U.S. or spend time in the U.S., you want to plan now to be in Trinidad and Tobago. Listen, some of you know that the airline tickets are going to be right if you get them early enough. And the accommodations, the location, we'll make sure to talk about. We want to make sure. We want to make sure and get as much as we can some of these rooms blocked out so that we can have people accommodated right there at the Radisson, right? At the Radisson, right there in the heart of Port of Spain. But ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be an event you really want to be there. I see King James is there. Go ahead, raise your hand, King James. We're excited to have you on there. But let me tell you something, guys. It's going to be something powerful, okay, guys? So get ready for it. We're going to kick this call off. So glad to have you guys here. We're maxed out. Mr. Chester's over here. Again, I know we got people who just don't want to go home. We're talking so much about this, but this call today is really part 2 of what we started last week with the art of the launch. And the art of the launch is really an incredible concept that I believe was making the difference. It really is making the difference for so many people. It made the difference for me. It was something that I learned and got the details from my coach and mentor years ago. I didn't even understand it. On that previous call I talked about, I really didn't understand the power of it. I didn't understand what it really, really meant and how it really was designed to work, but it worked. Nonetheless, it worked. It did what it's supposed to do. And I was taking some notes earlier today when I looked at it, and just talking about the art of the launch. And, you know, we agreed that, and do me a favor, guys, if someone can put a text in the various groups, letting them know that we've maxed out. It's not that the line is messed up. Just let them know the call is maxed out, but we'll actually be recording it, and folks will be able to get the recording of it. All right. Yeah, exactly. It's already full. Okay. So those of you who got on 5 minutes early, you did the right thing. But when you talk about get the art of the launch, it's really about getting started and getting started quickly, setting some targets. And in the details we talked about last week, and I will never, ever feel uncomfortable about emphasizing it. You've got to be in a hurry. You've got to show value. You've got to take it away. You've got to be able to identify the pitfalls and the traps and avoid these pitfalls and traps when building your business. Because the real key of it is you want to be able to establish momentum. You want to create momentum by compressing time in your business. Look, anybody can build a business, building it 1, 2 at a time, and I like to call them onesie twosies. But remember this phrase, if anyone knows, and it's not uncommon that you build your business onesie twosie. If you can just give me a show of hands of anyone that for whatever reason, even by default, you may have built your business a onesie twosie in the past. I like to say onesie twosie, snooze you losey, because speed is what it's all about. Speed, I mean, money likes speed, and if you really want to get where we're going at the speed of which this company is moving, the magnitude of the activity when you elevate your magnitude, as we saw here down in Jamaica, I mean, these guys are serious. No, I mean, it's nighttime, we're still going, and I got about another 6 people they're logged in on another computer in another side of the open courtyard that we're in, and they're waiting for me to finish up this call so we could do another power session. You see, you got to be prepared to do it. But in the launch, you want to make sure you get started, set your target, identify the key leaders, identify them, and literally just get the group going, get the group started, break the ranks, and set the pace. That was what we talked about last week. And guys, I know there's some people who really got some good information, got some good value for it. I'll tell you something. If you're not already structuring and planning to have your respective people launched out of this group, you really want to do it, okay? Get them launched. You will identify who the players are. How we launched Jamaica, excuse me, how we launched Jamaica was very simple. Mr. Tony Blair, he figured out what he needed to do. He put his core group together, and they all launched. If you'll see on Facebook, there's a series of pictures of the group. That's the core group. That doesn't represent everybody. We couldn't get everybody in the picture. You might see some pictures of after the event was over, who was hanging around and got into the picture. You might see it. But they understood the launch process. But now coming out of this event, we want to be able to identify who else can be launched of the new people. We met some real key people that were here. They saw it. They liked it. They saw the power. They understood. They got started. And we're rocking and we're rolling already. We're already rocking and rolling. So what are you looking for? You're looking for people who see exactly what you see. Very often, many of us in network marketing become save the world proponents, okay? And look, I'm not against it. I chimed in when Michael Jackson was singing We Are the World. I was singing my little verse and my little chorus. You know, I sang my part. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives, okay? But guys, we are saving the world, but we got to save ourselves first. Every time you get on a flight, you hear it said, you've got to put on your oxygen mask first, and that's the first thing you got to do. So what do? You launch you. And then once you identify key people, you launch them. So as you're looking at your group right now, you see who is in alignment, who is consistent with your theory, and stop trying to save those who don't see it. Because everyone can admit, and I'm sure we have some leaders here, I've got a handful of emeralds and rubies and those who could get on the sapphires because they got on early. They made sure to be here right on time. But they can talk about the fact that, you know, when you're looking at leaders, not everyone is going to move at the same time and at the same pace. So you want to be able to identify who is in alignment with you. You know what's interesting? I was sharing a story today with Mr. Terrell, and this topic came up about, you know, how there are things you may do today that you may lay the foundation, and it may not pay you good dividends until years gone down the road, okay? Without giving you all the details of it, but, you know, there was someone I invested a lot of resources in, and relatively speaking, it was a lot of resources, and I didn't immediately get a return on my investment back then. But years later, something incredible happened that it led me to somebody who led me to another larger organization that now is paying a great residuals, great fruit, great return on investment. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, so what we're talking about, and Tim, you started sharing your screen. You might want to not click that. I'll see if I can undo that. Gosh, let me see if I can, Tim, let me see if I can take control. Thank you, Tim. All right, so be careful. Don't touch any of those, click on any of those buttons, okay? I don't want to have to take away total control of it. Maybe I can't even figure it out right now, but okay, so don't share your screen. We're lucky Tim's screen didn't have anything that was risque. I see kids are on the call tonight, so thank you for keeping it PG. But what we're really talking about is those people that don't get it today or don't pay the return on the investment today. It's okay, because it will come. So you've got to be really prepared to sift and sort as you're looking at launching. I'll emphasize an example of what I was talking about last week. Last week, I shared the story of my very first launch, because I'd been in the industry for decades. I'd been in the industry for decades, but for some strange reason, I didn't understand. I was doing this, the onesie, twosie, snoozy, loosey kind of situation, you know, sponsoring a person here, sponsoring a person there. And I can give you some statistics, okay? Some real clear statistics. I think it's gonna be helpful if you take some notes on it, because in that previous company before I got exposed to the art of launch, over a 2.5-year period of time, I had sponsored 17 people. Okay, and as a result, those 17 people had grown exponentially, and it wasn't a bad exponential growth. It had gone from 17 to about 267 people, but it was gradual. It was a slow process, and as a result, there was not enough momentum and activity to create the significant income nor the significant growth. Does that make sense to everyone? Because we were kind of moving one at a time. Now, there's a natural progression of how things work in this industry, and you want to make sure that you're keeping the speed, keeping the momentum, because what I will guarantee you is that people will quit. Don't get it twisted. People are going to quit the business no matter what you do, and I'm going to encourage you, when they quit or when they want to quit, let them quit. Don't try to talk them out of it. You are changing the natural circumstances. Someone who wants to quit, let them quit, and please encourage them to quit earlier than later. And why do I say that? Not to be rude or not to be disrespectful, but you want the person who's going to quit anyway to quit earlier, so that you don't invest too much time in the activity that will come and bring forth least results or least return on your invested time. But just remember one thing, which is very critical and very important, that regardless of how long they are involved, the most important thing when you launch them is to be able to work through them. That's the purpose of the launch. So we're going to talk a little bit about what happens after the launch. Okay, and tonight's part 2 is really going to get into something really cool and something really powerful, which is sponsorship, okay, and sponsoring internally versus externally. So make that your subheading, that we're talking about the art of the launch, but we're going to sponsor internally and externally, okay? Most everyone, and there are some recruiters on the line here. I know some of you guys, you like to recruit. You have this great knack of being able to get people in and to be able to, use your skill to get everyone in. And that's great, okay? When I talked about compressing time and creating momentum, you don't want to be 2.5 years, 17 personally sponsored, 267, because that'll be a painfully slow growth. Imagine if you can do that very quickly. But it doesn't have to be you doing all the sponsorship. Does that make sense to everyone? You see, when I talk about external sponsoring, you can literally go out and meet people, qualify people, get them through the process, and get them in the business. And it's great. You get them in the business, you get them started, you might even get them launched. But you know what's even more powerful is when you can internally recruit. Let me share a great story with you guys, because it's important that you understand everything that I'm talking about is not what I read in a textbook. It's not something I saw on a video. It's what I actually learned to do and then executed it over and over and over and over. And there's some laws that come along with it, such as every fourth level that you find people down in your organization, you'll find a superstar, okay? And when you get 8 levels down in your organization, you'll really at that time have a team. Okay, and there's some basic things that you want to realize that if you don't do it, it won't happen. But it all starts with you got to at least get in and procure your first 2 people, your dual team. Now, if you haven't had a dual team completion and you've been in the business longer than 30 days, you need to probably take a step back. I mean, a serious step back. Now, this isn't to condemn anyone or to offend anyone, but this is really to take an accountability and assessment so that you can get yourself onto the track that will move as this organization is moving, so that we can move you and help you get better. So if you haven't already in 30 days gotten your dual team, you probably need to get some isolated time with your sponsor or your mentor, your coach, whoever is your upline that has the ability to give you some corrective guidance, okay? Does that make sense to everyone? But once you can get your dual team in place, afterwards, you can start building through these people. Because what a lot of people make the mistake of doing is being very linear. Does that make sense? What I mean linear is that they may even sponsor a bunch of people and go real wide and have no depth. And what will happen invariably is that your organization will stop growing. There will be no movement because there's no depth. There's no repetition. There's not enough people. And here's the ironic part, and I know it's going to make sense to a lot of people, okay? When I tell you this, I want you to literally just give me the old thumbs up and let me know that this is making sense to you. That when you sponsor more than 5 people, there's a higher than likely probability that you can't work with all of these people beyond 5, okay? Give me a thumbs up if you feel. And I want to see if you're in agreement with that. That there's a higher than average probability that you cannot work with more than these 5. Is that right? Those who I saw some people even chime in. It's so true. In fact, especially when you're just getting started, okay, most people on average can sponsor 2, but most people cannot mentor or coach more than 5. So at any respective time, even though you're a great recruiter, until you take those 5 and start building down level after level, layer after layer, with depth in mind. The depth is what's going to pay you forever. Your sponsorship, let me give it to you real plain, your direct sale commission will pay you today, okay? Your matching bonus going down 4 levels will pay you forever. Don't get so excited, because let me tell you something, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to whoever has been making a good fortune off of them direct bonuses. That's short-sighted. It really is, because at the end of the day, when you have matching bonus that you're picking up in multiple legs, and I did a quick inventory today. When you have matching bonuses coming in on multiple legs down 4 levels deep, now you've got some real money. And then when I looked at people like some of the top leaders that are pulling in, 600, 700, 800, a million euros per month. And you look at their back offices and you look at their structure and you look at their organization and their commission on a weekly basis, very little, if any of it, is coming from direct sale, because they don't have the time for that. It's really based on the depth of what's going. And that's the key, ladies and gentlemen. So the external sponsoring is what you might do with people outside. But now when you can internally sponsor, that's when it gets really powerful. When you can literally begin to work effectively with people down under you. Now, what's interesting here, okay, and I shared this story last night. Mr. Tony Blair, who is the reason we came down here, he is the individual that invited us and put the event together. Mr. Tony Blair is not frontline to me. He was internally sponsored. As a matter of fact, He is the person who was contacted by someone in another country that literally assembled his core group, and all of a sudden now that whole organization that's coming here in Jamaica is in depth under one person from another country. Does that make sense? So you have this depth, and I don't even know how many levels below me it is. It's so far below me, it's almost hard to calculate. But that's internally sponsoring. So when I come, I'm looking for the leader who's under the leader who can then lead us to somewhere else in another place that'll perpetuate the growth. Does that make sense? Give me a nod, give me a head nod or a thumbs up. Because if you simply work in your geographic or within your constraints of where you even live, your chances are there's going to be a lot of work that you have to do for yourself and by yourself to keep it going. When you now can move it into other respective areas, now you've got the opportunity to let leaders rise up and let leaders really take shape. And that's really the key. I use an example, and this is the one that I've told so many times, this story so many times, and I won't call any names, but it was about 5 years ago. I had a real top leader who I brought in, and we launched this gentleman, and it was the first time he'd ever experienced the audit launch. And in his first week in the business, he had maxed out at his $5,000. He'd had his first $5,000 week. Why? Because we put a lot of volume, not a whole lot of width, but a whole lot of depth. We had enough personally sponsored people, but they sponsored, who sponsored, and we had a full organization that he not only qualified the first position, but he maxed out that first position's cap. Okay, he maxed out on that limit. But what we kept on doing was looking for new key players. So we found an individual in his organization, very sharp gentleman, and this individual, we launched him. Okay, we did the launch process, and I can even do another call that gets you into the fundamentals of how you identify, and maybe you do a fly-in group. As we saw here today, we actually flew here to launch Jamaica. Sometimes it may be where you may take another group and fly the group to Jamaica or to your respective hometown to launch them. There's so many different dynamics to it, but it's all about getting a group, getting a body together and creating that momentum, okay? Compressing time and creating momentum. Don't forget those two key words, compressing time and creating momentum. But anyway, so we've got my first guy who's already qualified. He's making money. He's having a great time. But if I rely on just working with this guy, then what's going to happen? The natural progression of all things in life and in network marketing, he's going to run out of fresh new prospects and or fresh new people that he could put us in. Come on, somebody nod their eye, nod their head, blink their eye, shake their head, do anything, give me a thumbs up. You're going to run out of people. It just can't keep happening. Okay, and in some cases, it may happen faster than others. Sometimes it may happen faster in certain based on geographic constraints. It may be based on economic constraints. It could be a variety of things that can happen. So we were looking to go outside of his geographic and his immediate reach, because we had literally bombarded. We had literally gone out and put a lot of people in his organization. So we found a key individual, and this individual, we launched him. And I remember after we got the launch going, we did a home presentation at his home, and I went by. I was actually the guest speaker for this home presentation, but I had one thing on my mind. Everyone want to know that one thing that I had on my mind? Anyone want to know? I had one thing on my mind, only one. I want to work through that new man. I need to work through him. Not that he's not important, but remember, I sponsored the leader who has now sponsored this leader, and we've got some real good horsepower. We've got some real hands-on within the leader. So now I got to work through. That means that of his invited guests and those people who we launched him with, I've got to identify someone, at least one leg, that I can take and run this leg to China. Somebody kind of just nod and let me know if I can find a leg and run it to China. Notice I said it earlier, Mr. Tony Blair, his leg is somewhere deep down under somewhere. Look at who we got here. You got me here. You got Marvin Sambo here. You got Anderson Chester here. You got other leaders here, and all of them way down working with Tony Blair, because we're going to run this leg all the way to China. And who knows what we're going to find deep under here. Well, it was the same premise. But at that very first meeting when we were launching this new partner, I found an interesting individual. He was a pastor. He was influential. So let me say this to you. I found the individual that met the 4-checker criteria. What is the 4-checker? If you didn't catch last week's call or any of my previous trainings, he had influence, okay? He also was a self-starter. He was teachable and coachable, and he had the financial resources to get going. So you have to understand, people will let you know who they are and how they're going. Hey, you guys having fun over there? Hey, hey, hey. Sorry, I'm gonna let these guys know. Let them know, we're getting a little too much. Hey, Chester. Okay, great. All right. Can you guys hear me? I wasn't sure if the background noise was gonna take over, so I wanted to kind of bring it down. But what we were looking to do is literally take that particular leg of business and run it straight through as far as we can. But we had to identify someone who was that capable party. They had to be a self-starter. They had to be teachable and coachable. They had to be influential, and they had to be able to have the financial resources to handle and accommodate. Well, lo and behold, out of maybe 14 people that were at that launch event, I found one that I decided to work with. I found one. That's all I needed was one. Does everyone get it? Remember, I'm not the sponsor. This person was already deep down inside. Well, not quite deep, but second level to me. So I found that one person, and then I personally sponsored him, if you understand my point. It's an internal sponsorship. And what does that mean? That means that I took that individual, not the front line, who was mine, and not their front line, but that next level person, I took that person under my wing, and I started working closely with one expectation was to drive their business a minimum of 4 levels deep. Did you catch that? 4 levels at a minimum. So now I have to get 4 levels deep and then help them drive 4 levels. Because what did I say? At the 4th level, you'll find a superstar. And then when you get 8 levels down, you've got a strong enough team that you may be able to let go. You see, the reason most organizations fail is because they haven't gone deep enough. They haven't created a deep enough foundation so that if you have to let it go and go work somewhere else, it does not have the sustainability to be able to create the volume and to create exactly what it is you need. Sometimes you're letting go too quick because you're being pulled because you have too many and you're not driving the depth. Hello? Can I get some acknowledgement on that? Is everyone with me on that? But when you can literally put the effort and now have the focus that we're going to drive it down. Our goal is to get 4 levels deep. That means internal sponsorship. I am taking that not my front line. I already got him. He's already a pin level. And now we're going to take that next person. The person who I sponsored knows how to take that first person to a pin level. So I don't have to worry about that. But I know he can't do that and do the next person under it. So I'm going to grab that. We used to use a phrase, and I haven't used it in a long time, but it was almost like a leapfrog. You get my point? It's kind of like a leapfrog. I'm going to jump over, and then you jump over, and then you. So we're going to keep on going in depth, one over the next, because when I get that next guy going and I leapfrog and I get down to the next one, I might get to the 4th level and find just who I want. That's what I'm looking for. Now, will there be some exceptions? Every so often, there'll be an exception to the rule. Every so often. Because I found that influential person and he led me to someone in another country, and I specifically was looking for that country. And some of you guys know that I'm very meticulous, very intentional. I know what countries I'm looking for. I know what countries I want to work in, and I know what I'm trying to do. So I was specific in that activity. And that gentleman did exactly what I wanted him to do. Can I tell you how many people he sponsored? You already want to know? So the man that I personally sponsored, when I say, I'm not talking about he was not my personal recruit, but I took him under my wing, who was my now 3rd level. Can I tell you how many people he personally sponsored? You ready for the magic? You ready? He was influential. He was a self-starter, and he had the money, but he wasn't teachable and coachable. So he sponsored all of one person, because he was doing it his way. But that one person was enough because it led me where I wanted to go. So since he was not teachable and coachable, I didn't fight with him. I didn't argue with him. I didn't wrestle with him. I didn't try to turn him. I didn't try to make him a convert, okay? Because he was a strong personality and I didn't need to fight with that strong personality. I just worked through him. So instead of spending a lot of my time there, I sponsored the person he sponsored. I took that person under my wing. Now I'm working with the 4th level person. Realistically, I have to negate in my mind while I say you look down 4 levels, you'll find a superstar, I have to negate that guy because he really didn't qualify. Everyone else did qualify. So I'm now down onto my 4th level, and when I get to the country, I launched that individual, and he shows up with a whole bunch of great people, and we identified some key people, and guess what we did? We sat down and we identified who was teachable and coachable. Y'all with me? We looked at who else was influential. They were self-starters, and they had the financial resources. And I simply said to them, look, you guys are ready to go, and I'm going to work with you. I know you're my 4th and 5th levels, but I'm here to work with you. And we launched them. That is the art of internal sponsorship. I launched my 4th and 5th level. Well, it just so happened that the 4th level gentleman, while he was a hard worker and he was a committed individual, he was not as influential. So again, my 4 criteria, right? You had to be a teachable, coachable, you had to be a self-starter, influential, and have the money. He had 3 out of the 4. So his success didn't happen as rapidly. But that person on the 5th level, he also missed one of the criteria, but he worked night and day tirelessly, and he became a diamond in a relatively short period of time. And it created, matter of fact, that particular individual went on to get accolades and went on to get achievements that were just so absolutely amazing. Had I have not opted to work down in depth, meaning to sponsor internally, I could have simply said, oh, well, you know, I got to the one guy, the bishop, and I said, we're going to have to let this go. And I could just let it go and go on and find somebody brand new, which so many people do all the time. When you get to the art of launching in depth, you're going to lead to somewhere, and you have to become tenacious. If you're on this line and you're a pin level, you're a sapphire, you're a ruby, you could even be an emerald or diamond. I guarantee you one thing. You might find down on your 8th level, you might find the person who's going to drive your organization to black diamond down there, 12 levels deep, 15 levels deep. I am consciously, consistently looking for who's down in the organization. Because when you anchor that leg, I'm going to tell you one thing. My mentor used to teach us, when you got a diamond on your 1st level, diamond on your 2nd level, diamond on your 3rd level, diamond on your 4th level, diamond on your 5th level, that leg is set for life. You want to believe that one? You want to believe that? Trust me. And it don't matter who leaves, who quits, what does, what happened. When you got 5 levels of diamonds deep, 5 levels of diamonds deep, you're good with that leg. Imagine doing that over and over and over and over and over. So here's what I want to do for you guys. I'm going to try this little gadget, see if I can do this thing. See if I can, I'm going to try something very interesting. Here we go. Here's what I want you guys to do, okay? I'm going to share my screen, and here's you, okay? Let me get my color. See if I can get my color. I want to use black and see if I can. Okay, here's you, all right? And I want you to be able to now, you sponsor, okay? I'm trying to do this the best I can with my whiteboard. And then I want you to go down and sponsor and drill down until you start having people, okay? Down, please forgive my circles. My circles aren't so good. All right, okay, hold on a second. All right. All right, and this was an exercise we used to do as we were building these previous organizations. Okay, I mean, you got there, 1, 2, 3, 4. I really want you to go down a minimum of 5. I want you to go down a minimum of 5. And I want you to start beginning to look at each of your personally sponsored individuals, okay? Look at your personally sponsored individuals. So if you, this is you. Uh-oh, hold on, I'm trying to do this. Okay, this is you, all right? And now you want to get person number 1. That's your 1st level. Now, I know, again, we want to exclude the people who may not have gotten their dual team yet, but if you're actually building a business, I want you to go ahead and look at your entire structure. And I want you to be able to look at any persons you've sponsored. And then I want you to be able to look and see who they've sponsored, okay, on that second level. And then look at who they've sponsored on that third level. And I want you to see who they've sponsored on that fourth level, okay? I want you to then see who they've sponsored on that fifth level, okay? Matter of fact, if you really want to get even fancier, okay, you can even go down 6 levels. And I want you to be able to see how many of those spaces you can fill in, okay? Does everyone see me? Y'all watching me? Okay, I hope you draw your circles a little better than I do, okay? Let me see, I got an eraser here. Let's see if I can erase this. All right, and I'll go back to my color. I'll go back over here and draw. Uh-oh, text. All right, here we go. No, here, how about that? All right, so there's you. Now you go down first level, list that person. Second level, list that person. Third level, list that person. Fourth level, list that person. Fifth level, list that person. Then even take it down one more if you can. Sixth level. Now I'm not talking about, genie. I'm not talking about from a stacking on your dual team. I'm talking about where this person has personally sponsored that person, okay? Where you have personally sponsored your number one. Your number one has sponsored your personally sponsored number two. Number two has sponsored personal number three. And 3 has sponsored 4. 4 has sponsored 5. And if you can take it down, my whiteboard doesn't go any further, but has sponsored number 6. Because now you've literally gone down even past your matching bonus level, but you're not worried about that because once you get down to number 4 and you already maxed out in matching bonus levels, okay, you have a tycoon, you max out on matching bonus level number 4. Now you're going to help number 4 with number 5 is his first level, number 6 is his second level, and you want to replicate that process over and over and over and over. You want to go down 8 levels, okay? I'm going to shock some of you, okay? Some of you remember I was with another company, we had some great success, and I want to tell you that in multiple legs of mine, I could do this down 22 levels. Did you guys catch that? I'm going to write it on the, see if I can write it. I don't know if I can write it. Well, let me go back to text. 22 levels. That's how meticulous I was about this, going down 22 levels. That means on any of a few specific legs of business that I can go down 22 levels. Now, David Neal is on this call. And David's leg, David was on my second level, and because of the work we were doing, one of his legs went down 20 levels. Does everyone understand that? And that's why, I don't know if it was a year and a half or maybe 2 years, he was inactive in the business because he had a tragedy in his family, and the true essence of network marketing reigned supreme in his life. You see, when you build in depth, see, I say, if you're good and you can recruit and you can do 5, 10, 15, 20 people, God bless you, man. You the man. I ain't mad at you. But when you can start showing me that you can build 4 levels, 5 levels, 6 levels, 7 levels, 8 levels, 10 levels deep, I'm not talking about because someone put a bunch of people under you and in the dual team and the binary, you go down a gazillion levels. I'm talking about where you have an organization that's building and creating and anchoring and breaking pins. Because when I gave you the example before, I said, when that person on level 1 becomes a diamond, and the person on level 2 becomes a diamond, and the person on level 3 becomes a diamond, and the person on level 4 becomes a diamond, and the person on level 5 becomes a diamond, you have a leg that's set for life. And I can tell you something, we did it. There were multiple legs we had where there were diamonds on the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th levels. That's how you make real money. And this particular compensation plan that we're engaged in will reward you even more equitably than what we used to see in previous companies. It doesn't matter if it was a matrix or a binary or a unilevel or a hybrid it don't matter. When you have people who are replicating and can do this, that's when you know you've got some things going on. Okay? Please, I hope you understand me. I'm not looking, remember I'm looking at my whiteboard. So I want you to tell me that you're getting the gist of this. All right? So now, here's when you get this, okay? And now, those of you that are really about leadership, okay? All right? Here's what I want you to do. Really ready about leadership. I'm gonna see, because somehow I can't remember how I got to my writing. Okay, How did I get back to writing? Doggone it. I'm doing this whiteboard for the very first time. You think you can help me?
What are you doing?
I was trying to figure out how to get my writing utensils up. Okay, well, if you can, yeah, I'm on text right now. I'm on text. I was looking for the drawer. Okay, well, don't worry about it. Listen, I ain't worried about it. But here's what I want you to do, okay? When you can, and especially if you're an emerald or a ruby or a sapphire, I want you to do this thing and take a picture of it and then send it to me, or send it to your diamond, send it to Marvin, send it to Chester, send it to anyone, okay? To say, yeah, I got this going on, okay? I got it. You made sense to me. I see this. I've got first level, second level, third level, fourth level, fifth level, sixth level going on. I got it. And then what I want you to do is now go do it in a second leg. Y'all with me on that? Y'all with me on that? Go do it in a second leg. And then I want you, after you do it, now when you have one leg that's driving, and I'm talking about personally sponsored. I'm not talking about binaries. I'm talking about you personally recruited someone, and now you've got that whole organization where you're building in depth all the way down. Because that's the internal sponsorship. And then I want you to go do it in a second leg. Because I can assure you something, by the time you've got them going down in depth like that for a second leg, when you got that going down for real, and they ain't just bought a package and sitting there and, waiting, for something big to happen. I mean, they're actively working and building. You have got an organization that's going somewhere. Then when you do it in a second leg, now you're going to start seeing your pin level exponentially grow. By the time you get to your third leg of doing that, that means you've got, and that doesn't mean it could fall anywhere in your organization, but you have your third personally sponsored individual. And that person has built down 4, 5, 6 levels. You are clocking digits. Okay? You're clocking digits. I'm just telling you. I remember drawing this out probably in 2013. I drew this out in 2013, and I was trying to do it kind of ad hoc for you guys so you could see it. I drew this out in 2013, and it validated and really explained to me why my multiple 7 figures, it was 7+ figures of income, was derived. Because at that particular time, ready? Everyone ready? At that particular time, we went 12 legs wide, going down 6 levels deep at a minimum. One of them had already gone down 15 levels. Okay, and I'm talking about leaders. One of those, that same one that went down 15 levels, had already established 5 levels of diamonds. And then the other 11 were different pin levels and such and such. See, this is the power, because you can find great qualified people, real talented people inside your organization. Yeah, and by the time you're working and developing the strong people inside your organization, and then you can become a lot more selective as to Tom, Dick, and or Harry, or who you're going to work with. You see, because every single person you sponsor or recruit externally is not going to be qualified to be worth your time. The room should have gotten quiet all of a sudden. Or like my friends in London like to say, let's let the door open so some fresh air can come through here. Okay? You see, it's real. And while you have that, there are real solid people. Because I can tell you one thing. I look at all the people I've personally sponsored, and there are far more that are available. Okay, let's do one crazy little thing, okay? And let's see if we do this, and see if I can really pull this off. Imagine if you have this crazy example. Ready? You have 5 people that you personally sponsor, and that you're able to go down, and you help them do the exact same thing over whatever period of time. Those 5 people, and I'm not talking about just random folks. I'm talking about these are your workers in your buildings. They do the exact same thing. They are qualified just like you, as appropriate, as intensified, as dedicated as you. That's how many people will be working with you on your second level. Is that number pretty cool? So 5 begets 25, right? And then when you get down to the third level, here's that number you're working with. You're going to have 125 people. And it don't matter. If you look at the 80-20 rule, you're going to find some superstars. You're going to find some elites in that group. When you go down one more level, here's what you're going to do. You're going to find 625. You're going to find 625 down under there. 625 people that you can pick and choose You think that your posture might be a little bit stronger as to who you'll bring on personally frontline when you've got on your first, second, third, fourth level, 625 people on your fourth level. And then when you look at your fifth level, because remember, everyone is duplicating, replicating. That's why my sponsor is killing the game. That's why he's had his greatest month ever. Okay? I can't wait till the dude tells me, hey, man, we had a $2 million month, because it's going to happen. Because the 625 on your fourth level, when you get them operating at that 5, now here's the number. I hope you're seeing it. 3,125 people. All right, watch this one. Multiply that by 5. Look what's happening on your sixth level, 15,625. Come on, somebody. I'm showing you how what's just occurred on your left. That's you plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels. By the time you do it here and you get 5 of that happening, 5 begets 25, begets 125, 625, 3125, and 15,625. Let me stop you right there, because I want to just give you some statistics I shared with the guys at this particular session here about another good friend over in the UK who just became a black diamond. Okay? He became a black diamond. And look at the numbers that are total there. Maybe somebody will inbox me and tell me what that total is. But it's 15,006 on the sixth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on the sixth level alone. Yes or yes? There's that many people on the sixth level alone. I want to do the mathematics, because what he shared with me just a couple of days ago, okay, and here's how cool it was. Out of the 15,000 members of his organization, wake up somebody and catch this one, because I just gave you the mechanism. I just gave you the formula. Somebody should be jumping for joy right now. I see a lot of people laying back, relaxing, chilling, kicking back, you know, probably got some music in the background, trying to mix and mingle, listen to what you're listening to from me, and then listen to some other stuff, you know, maybe some Luther, maybe some, I don't know what they're listening to. But let me tell you about the 15,000 people in his organization as a brand new black diamond. He has 581 sapphires. Okay? All right, you ready for this one? 581 sapphires. Who likes that? 581 sapphires in the organization. Anyone like that? He has 181 rubies. Who likes that? He has 53 emeralds. Okay, 22 diamonds. He has 5 blue diamonds. And now he is a black diamond. Anybody okay with that kind of statistic? And look at what we just did. It don't take a whole mob. If you are a wild, crazy recruiter, God bless you. I appreciate you for that. And you'll have a great time chasing a lot of people. But when you learn how to qualify people and you begin to develop the skill of recruiting internally, identifying the best of the best and driving business miles deep under them, you will start to become one of the highest paid, most recognized people, and you won't have to guess about how you did it. You won't have to say, I got lucky and found a guy. You will have it systematically, fundamentally, making clear sense as to how it can happen, whether it's in this company, the next company, if you ever choose. I don't have to worry about the next company, because this is it for me. Because after I cash my digits on all of this, I know I'm going to fall back and relax on my coins. Anyone get the picture? Anyone get the picture? Guys, I hope you caught a picture of it. Maybe someone got it, but it's just the way it is. It's, oh, here it is. I got my writing pad again. I got my writing utensil again. All right, so guys, I want you to understand, you have to go ahead and start with the launch. But after you've launched, after you've done what I've talked about, compressing time, creating momentum, you can make it your point to never have to worry about momentum ever again. Momentum is something you create. And one thing you want to do is make sure, if you can't create it, because you won't be able to create sustainable momentum by going super wide. It just ain't going to happen. You're going to be spread too thin. You'll be pulling left, right, up, down, here, there, hither, and yon. It ain't going to work. Okay? It's not going to work. But when you can literally develop an organization, you can keep momentum going simultaneously in numerous legs of business, working in depth. Somebody say yes or yes. Somebody say yes or yes. Mind blowing? Yes, it is, my friend. Because let me tell you something. I wasn't that good. I'm going to give you the statistics. Yeah, I put 40,000 people into that previous company that came from 115 personally sponsored, that went down 22 levels deep. And the company right before that, I put 17 people in over 2.5 years and had a total of 267 people in the organization. How does the same guy go from one to the other? You get the information and it's breathtaking and you say, oh my God, thank the Lord I now know. People sometimes say, man, you're still talking about your mentor? Why not? I mean, it's Sunday. I'm not even in Atlanta, so I'm not even watching football. But usually every Sunday we're texting each other because either his team wins or my team loses, or his team loses or my team wins. And we have the positioning in terms of, you know, who's ranking we're in the same division. Our team's in the same division. Yes, I talk about my mentor, because that guy taught me this and helped me to understand that you don't work hard, you work smart. Can anyone see working smart in this particular scenario? Can anyone see working smart? Because I want you to understand, if I were to draw this out, if I could even draw it out, it would start to look like a spider web. Because if you go back to what I drew, okay, and I don't think I cleared it. Let me see. See, where's my whiteboard? Let me go back to my whiteboard. Okay, here, my whiteboard is still here. Okay, if you understand what I'm saying to you, this was the fundamental basic starting point, okay? Because what I told you is by the time I understood what I was doing, I became a master of building depth. Okay? So after I did it in 1, then you know I'm going to do it in 2, and I'm going to do it in 3, and I'm going to do it in 4, and I'm going to do it in 5. I'm only showing you 5, 25, 120. I'm only showing it to you that way. Could you imagine what it would look like the way I did it, that I had 12 legs wide? Each of them going down. Not all of them went down more than 5 levels or 6 levels. Some went way past it. Some of them went only to 6 levels. But that's what created the income. It's called working smart, not hard. So guys, I'm hoping that you got a little something out of this. It's a little bit more advanced, a little bit more technical. Maybe you might need some refreshers, but I'll tell you how we're going to do this to make it easy for you, okay? Because the only way I can share the pertinent, relevant activity that or information that you guys really need, I got to hear from you from time to time, okay? And while I thank you, I really do. I thank you when you send me these messages and notes saying, wow, this was great, mind-blowing, it was a great session, I appreciate what you shared with me, blah, blah, blah. Man, I love hearing that. Thank you so much. It really boosts my ego. I don't need it. I appreciate it. I thank you for it. It's good. What is helpful is when you send me information. So Robert's sitting there, he's paying attention, he's taking copious notes, and then he says to me, well, dang, okay, I caught everything you said. Matter of fact, I watched the replay 5 times. I'm able to understand driving depth. I understand the concept of internal sponsorship versus external sponsorships, and I get it. I get it. But I'm still having trouble with this, X, Y, or Z. He's actually doing the work. He's actually, piquing interest, showing the plan, doing 3-way calls. He's putting in the work, but for some reason it's not happening. And I'm not saying that this is what Robert's case is, but for example, and then you communicate with me. Guess what you're giving me? The opportunity to then go in and say, well, guess what? This is a new training. Because you see, most people say, oh yeah, I like your training. You know why? Because usually I don't know what I'm going to train about. I was sitting here at this table with Mr. Sambo, and I said, what do you think we should train on today? He had just sent Mr. Chester up to introduce me, and while Mr. Chester is introducing me and doing the edification, I'm leaning over and saying, so what do you think I should train on? He said, I have a feeling that once you get started, you're going to figure it out. Let's start with mindset. Let's start with mindset. Well, guess what? hour and a half later, we had mindset. We had the four components of the cryptocurrencies. We had how to get to Sapphire, the structure, how to build a diamond structure, how to get it done in as little as 4 months. What I didn't tell them, because I didn't want to scare them, it's a brand new market, is that what I didn't tell y'all about the diamond structure is that if you do it in 4 months, you become diamond. But if you do it one a week, you can be diamond in 4 weeks. Oh, y'all didn't hear me? Oh, nobody liked the thought of it. I don't think anybody here wants to go diamond in 4 weeks. What I said, the diamond structure, if you complete each stage, the first week you go Sapphire, the second week, if you do stage 2, you'll go Ruby. The third stage, if you do it in 3 weeks, you'll go Emerald, and by the 4th week, you'll go Diamond. Almost unbelievable, right? Believe it, it happens, it gets done. It's all fundamental, it's all very statistical. But what I'm trying to share with you guys is that you communicate with me, let me know what it is you want to know, okay? Let me know where, and especially if you're a Ruby or an Emerald, because, you know, I'll tell you something, at the Ruby level, that's when you really start to say, okay, I need to develop the real pertinent skill, the real specific skill to take this thing to the next level, okay? Because Sapphire is almost so simple that anybody, come on, look at me now, anybody and everybody should be going Sapphire. Yes or yes? Anybody with me on that? Oh, I don't see a whole, oh, good, thank you. I see some thumbs going up now. Woo, I was getting nervous. That means that we could literally become a Sapphire breaking machine, okay? This organization can become a Sapphire breaking machine. Why? Because Sapphire is not complex. Sapphire is not complex, okay? And you don't need a whole mass of people to get it done. But once you get that Sapphire done, it becomes a little bit more intricate because you now have to replicate. You have to take what you've just done and do it again in somebody else. And that's when the control and the power is out of your hands. So when control, listen to me carefully, this is real poignant, okay? When the control and the power is out of your hands, you have got to become a better discerner of who you're working with. You've got to qualify these people better. Okay, not just Tom, Dick, or Harry. Oh yeah, somebody has a pulse and they want to sign up. That's who you're going to put in? Well, yes, okay, great. But you're going to dedicate a lot of time and they haven't shown you any qualifications? I'll tell you mine. And I've shown you how even with one missing, people still succeed. But a lot of us are trying to take people where they're on these 4 checks. You know, they're not self-starters, but how, Mr. Hartley, can I help them become self-starters? Well, you give them some reading material, you slide them over to the side, and you give them some encouragement so that they can learn how to become self-starters. You don't try to keep them in the mix while you're trying to build a business because they will drain all your time. Somebody say hello. Somebody say hello. All right? So if they're not a self-starter, love on them, teach them, give them some reading material, give them something to work with, and let them go. Second thing is they're not teachable and coachable. Well, pray for them. Okay, get on your hands and knees and pray for them, because the last thing you want to have is somebody working up close and personal with you that is not coachable and trainable. They will have you cussing on Sundays. Now, y'all know I don't cuss on a Sunday, but some of them people will have you cussing on Sundays. So pray for them, pray harder for them. The third is influential. Now, it was so cool. Someone in another country, another part of the world asked me, how do you become more influential when you're not? And one of the things I said is you put yourself in a situation where you're around influential people, and then you start to interface with them, and what will happen is they will rub off on you. The reason most people won't rub around or hang around with influential people is because they're nervous and they're intimidated. No, get courageous and put yourself around them, and then volunteer yourself to be doing things with them. Because what you'll begin to do is learn and see how influential people do things. Put yourself out there, make the mistakes. Okay, I used to tell people that there's nobody who made more mistakes in building that 40,000 member organization than me. I screwed it up more than anybody else. I was known by my mentor as the one who's going to screw it up. But I ain't going to never screw it up 2 times. Somebody see me? Oh, I'm going to screw it up. I'm going to go down in flames one time. Oh, I'll mess it up, jack it up. And he's like, ah, you did it again. Yes, I did, boss. I messed it up big time. But he ain't going to mess it up 2 more times. Ain't going to never catch me messing up 2 times. I learned from that first mistake. And then I'm going to watch someone else, because if I can watch you make a mistake, I ain't going to do the same one you do. So you watch and see these different things. Okay, so if you're around people, put yourself out there. Make the mistake. Go out and learn to be influential, because guess what? You hang around influential people. If you hang around 4 influential people, chances are it's going to be 5. It's just that simple. But if you sit at home and you try to say, okay, well, I'm just going to work on it. I'm going to read every book. You'll become a very smart and non-influential person. You'll be a very well-read and non-influential person. Put yourself out there and get it done. And then, of course, money. There's not a business like I've seen here in this particular company that's more forgiving than this, where you can literally go out and teach and help and really get people started and earn money no matter what your level, and you can just upgrade yourself, upgrade yourself, upgrade yourself, upgrade yourself, no matter what. You can't start at a tycoon, so what? Go show the plan. Peak interest, show the plan, 3-way calls. All right, well, look, this is my time. I got a bunch of people here waiting on me. I know they're ready to get into that next advanced stage, but give me a thumbs up if you think the information you gathered tonight was valuable. If you got some tidbits, go ahead and drop a note in there. Let me know that you kind of got a little something. If you just got a little bit, then it's worth my while. It's always worth my time, but I do this because I want you to succeed. I'm so excited about seeing you guys get to the top, because when you get to the top, we get to hang out together and do so many things together. It's a blessed place to be. You know why? Because the bottom ain't no fun. It's way too crowded. It ain't the place you want to be. How many of y'all know the bottom is way too crowded? So let's hang out at the top together on the beaches of the world. So guys, thank you so much. Have a great night, and we'll see you again. Once again, next week. I don't even know where I'm going to be. Hey, what? I think, and I got to check my calendar, but I think I'll be coming to you live from London. Okay? So just like I was down here, I have my little Yaman, Jamaica man. That's my live from Jamaica accent. And when I'm coming to you live from London, it'll be a spot of tea. Guys, tune in next week. And, I'm going to tell you whatever we come up with. The things you share with me this week will help us determine exactly what it is we're going to teach you next week. All right? God bless and have a great night. Keep on striving. Reach the top because you deserve it.